A visionary leader in deep tech innovation, social impact, and institution building. He has pioneered AI solutions for health, climate, and language technologies. His work spans digital health, agriculture, medtech, and low income user technologies, collaborating with partners like IISc, ICMR, Google, and Niti Aayog. He has been instrumental in the program management of the Vani project and has also contributed to the RESPIN and CISPIN projects. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Raghu.
Okay, all right. That's a little resounding. Yeah. Uh, Good afternoon and good early evening to everyone. I'm not a researcher, right? My master's professor had asked me to stay on to be a PhD student, and I said I don't have the courage, right? So, research takes a lot of commitment, and folks who bridge research with real problems are even more rare, right? So for me, Dr. Prashant Ghosh represents that very rare breed of researchers for whom the research is really rooted in real problems that we face day-to-day basis. Let me start with a simple question. How many of you have gotten COVID vaccinations? Folks who are not sleeping should probably raise their hand, because if you haven't gotten your COVID vaccination, that was a bit of a trick question. So that leads to a real question. How many have gone and stood in a line somewhere not in your apartment complex, right, and not in your neighborhood without getting a prior appointment? One, two, three, four. Okay, maybe. For how many of you got some sort of a appointment through Cowin or something like that? Okay, that's most of you. I don't fully understand why some of you did not get the Cowin appointment ahead of time, but that was an opportunity most of us had, right? Now, if I open my Cowin app even today, there are folks who are registered on it who are not my family members. This is housekeeping staff in my apartment complex, right? They were struggling to get COVID vaccinations, and what's even more tragic is this is a person who could speak three different languages the way humans can understand, right? So it's very common for folks who are in this part of the country, who grew up or who have spent a lot of time in this part of the country, uh, because it's at this intersection of three states, right? Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu, to actually speak three languages. And these are people who speak three languages the way most humans who speak those languages would understand. But they did not know how to use our new digital inclusion interfaces to actually get a COVID vaccination, right? And this was not actually something new. We constantly celebrate all the wonderful innovations that we make in the name of underserved people, right? Only to constantly leave them behind, right? And I had seen actually over a decade, uh, before I came here, decade or more, that a lot of apps in health and agriculture that are made for the front lines. When I say front lines, these are, think of ASHA workers, auxiliary nurse midwives, agriculture extension workers. There's a graveyard of apps over the last decade, right? And the main reason, in my mind, they didn't work is we never try to interact in the natural way in which people interact, right? Typing, I, I am still not a good typer on my phone, right? And if you ask my mother to do that, impossible, right? And if my mother talks to Alexa, there's no chance Alexa is going to understand my mother, right? I grew up in semi-rural Telangana, where the Telugu is actually very different from what you would hear in Telugu movies, right? or on Doordarshan growing up, right? Why should we expect Alexa to understand? I was actually thinking back to my own experience. I had returned from the US back at the end of 2009, full of these dreams of making a difference in hinterlands. One of the first things I did was actually build a rural solar company. And guess what? I landed up in Eastern UP thinking that we are going to make a big difference. And my biggest challenge was I thought I knew how to speak Hindi. I thought I knew how to understand Hindi, but I had no freaking clue what they were saying, right? So this is Azamgarh, Mau, Gorakhpur. These are the kinds of areas that I landed up in. So it should not surprise us that if, I mean, my quote unquote training in Hindi, right, or learning, you would say, was based on basically Bollywood movies and Doordarshan news. And remember, these were the days when we had only one channel, right? So that was it. So I should not have been surprised that I'd land up in far parts of the country and I could not understand what they were saying. The same is to be expected with machines, right? So in 2021, as I joined Art Park and started on this journey, we laid out as a vision. In fact, it's a cartoon story. I'll share it with Professor Ghosh at some point. And the starting of that is someone waking up in remote rural India with symptoms of COVID. How would how would 2030 be any different from 2020 if she cannot use digital tools within hand's reach, right? And that was the inspiration really to start asking what do we do in terms of building speech and natural language based interfaces. Uh, Fortunately, not long after that, I think sometime in 2022, uh, Professor Bharadwaj Amrutur, who is the director executive of Art Park, he connected me to Professor Prasanta and said, "Hey, they are thinking about they do these things called Respin and Cispin now, and now they are thinking about some other thing called Vani." So that's where our journey started, and it's been one incredible journey. Much of we spent a good 6 months, basically two of us figuring out how to get this thing going, and then now we are lucky to be working with him for the last what 2 years, 2 plus years, two plus years now, right? And there are broadly two observations I have on a lighter note with Prashanta. One is don't ask him, can you meet? He will meet at any time. We have done 11 p.m. meetings too, right? So there somehow seems to be no dearth of energy or time, right? And if you think you are going to suggest a late meeting and somehow get away with not doing that meeting that day, you are in peril because he's going to do that meeting however late it is, right? That incredible drive and energy is something that is very, very rare. The second thing I've seen is uh, I've worked with lots of professors. I don't know how he is in your lab, but for me anyway, it feels like a super down to earth person to work with, right? And no airs that, oh, I'm an IISc professor, because I mean, as you folks might realize, becoming an IISc professor is not that very easy, right? So that down to earth nature, at the same time holding a high bar and commitment, to me uh, has been an incredible experience working with someone like him. And yeah, and it's very reassuring to see that here's basically kind of a history or a lab full of people, but also a legacy of 10 years, right? So hoping to continue to work with Professor Prasanta Ghosh for many, many years to come. And I think right now we are collaborating in about 180 districts or so, right? And fingers crossed, let's take this pan India, right? And let's make it really worthwhile for folks at the front lines who are really waiting for these technologies to transform their lives. Thank you for your partnerships. Thanks for all your support.
That's it. So we'll welcome